you're here.
I'm here to give you job security. We're ready to go, Brian.
Well, I get enough of that. Apparently not.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine today. I've got a few things to start out with and then a couple things to catch up with from last week. Start out again with positivity. And I feel better about it today. Last week when I stood here, it was 7.5. Today, unless it's changed in the last hour and a half, I saw it was 6.0. That's good. We're going in the right direction. The folks in Waukesha County that have at least the first vaccine are 42.4%. That's good. Those who have been are the total percent last week was 38.9. So we're heading in the right direction. And I think that, folks have been saying, well, when can we get rid of masks? And I had an interesting conversation, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, with some folks in the hallway saying, if it was just us, and this is over at Lake Terrace, if it was just us, we could probably get rid of these masks. And that's probably true because, you're 97, 98% vaccinated. Except when I walk through there, I see families in the hallway. I see strangers in the hallway. And I'm not sure we're ready to take the step like the NFL is taking, so that everybody carries their COVID vaccine card with them and they come in the stadiums with that card and they come on the campus with the card. I don't want to be the one that sits there with that, looking at that card. So right now, please continue to wear the masks, continue to be safe, I think when you're downstairs enjoying coffee or in the clubhouse enjoying coffee or that kind of thing, yeah, you have to have your mask down. You have to have your mask down when you're in Rosencrantz enjoying a drink or in the restaurant, but when you're passing in the hallways, when you're in public areas like that, please be careful. We've enjoyed a really good record in the last 15 months with COVID, so we want to keep that going, and as all of our families get vaccinated, it will get better. Last week, Sarah had me announce that the library is going to be in a new spot. Today, I'm going to announce that we're not going to do that. And as I said, at the end of these meetings, everything changes. So what I tell you right now is probably going to be true until 1:30 when I'm done with this meeting. But the library at Lake Terrace will be in the clubhouse. It will be on the second Monday of the month, and it will be from 9 until 10. And then on that Monday, from 10:30 to 11:30, it will be at the tower, here at the tower. And they will be set up outside in the library, outside the community room. So they will be back in person here also. That's a good thing. I know there are folks in the nursing home who enjoy the library. And I think you can continue to bring books down by Amanda and turn them in down there. We'll make sure you get new books. The gal from the library is very in tune to what we need and very in tune to providing for us here. So we're very happy to have them back. Last week, we talked about trees, or actually the lack of them, and the tree stumps that are remaining. And Mark wasn't here, so I couldn't pester him. I had to make up something last week. And it turns out I was right. We couldn't use the stump grinder on those two stumps because we are going to be replanting trees in those areas. And the only way we can replant those trees is to bring in a backhoe and dig out those stumps. So in the next week or so, you're going to see digger's hotline here to mark all the gas lines, and then there'll be another digger's hotline to mark our our private electrical lines in there. And then you'll see the backhoe come and dig a huge hole in there. And then we'll fill it in with some good soil. It's probably going to be some of the best soil we have on the campus because we're not known for great soil here. And then we're going to replant trees. So that's why those two stumps are there, and they will be going away. 1:30 today, tornado drill. And people ask, why do you do this? Number one, we want to test our equipment. We want to make sure it's working all over, but we also want to make sure that you know what the response is. What's the appropriate response? We, all of the staff on the South Campus really know what they need to do when that tornado watch goes off. And I want to remind staff. I mean, I'm sure you looked at the manual, but always we kind of jump the gun at the watch. We get people around the center core of the households and things. So let's not do that. That happens in a warning. And the reason I want to stress that is, in the state of Wisconsin, we can be under a tornado watch for a long period of time. And we don't want everybody relocated from their rooms during a watch. But during a warning, we do. We want them in the safest place possible. And so we have that designated. For the north side of the campus, the same thing. In a warning, we want you to think about, okay, if this goes into a tornado, if they're, I'm sorry, in a watch, if this goes into a tornado, where am I going? What am I going to do? And I know that some of you are going to go down in an elevator today. And I know that you will be greeted down in the parking garage by maintenance, and they're going to remind you that in a real tornado, we really don't want you to do that because there is a high probability that if a tornado strikes us, it's going to take out the power to the building. And you could be in that elevator for some time before we can get someone to extract you. So that is not a good thing to do in an actual tornado. If you cannot get down, if you cannot use the stairs to get to the parking garage, you need to go to an interior room that is somewhat safe, into the bathroom, that kind of thing. We do the same thing over here in the tower. If you can't get out into the inner hallway or to some safe place, go into the bathroom to a safe place. Thankfully, we've been very, very fortunate. We've had several tornado warnings, but we've never had an actual tornado that has done damage to our campus or threatened us. And but we do want to be prepared. We also need to be prepared because the state tells us we have to. At least on the South Campus, we have got to show them that we have all of these things in proper order. We do the same thing for the North Campus because you folks over there are no less important to us than the South Campus. So that's why we carry this all the way through. Talking about that, tornado and all clear are the only signals, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but they are the only signals that carry across the entire campus. All of the other fire alarm signals or water alarm signals are by building only. And the reason I say that is we had some confusion earlier or late last week or earlier this week, I can't remember. Earlier this week, okay. Into what building is being announced. If the alarm goes off in the tower, it has only to do with the assisted living portion of the building. It does not go off in the nursing home. Nursing home goes off in that proper. It does not go off in the tower. If it's shared spaces, yes, it does go off. On the other side of the campus, if it's in the east building or in life enrichment, that is considered one area because it is physically connected and there are fire dampers and fire doors in between, but it's a physical unit. the west building from Rockwells to the west is all considered one building. So if something goes off in there, you know, it will be isolated to that. Now, that's probably clear as mud. And I know that. So I'm going to have somebody who can explain it much better than I work on this. Mark is going to do an in-service on fire protocol on the campus, or emergency protocol, I should say. It's not going to just be limited to the fire, but that is how we want to couch this. We will get a time that Mark can be here. We'll get some slides going. We'll get our multimedia specialist to help us put this together. And we may even put that on our website or have it reside somewhere so people can review this. But we know that we need to be better at designating what do these alarms mean, what do they say, how do we respond to this. So that's in the works. Mark's got it. I know he doesn't have it top of his list. He told me this morning he has an air compressor on the top of his list, but this will be right under the air compressor. So he's making a list. And I did tell him I was in a very good mood today and I would make a lot of promises. And the good thing is, and I let him know that every promise I made is job security for Mark and his people. So today's the day. Let's see. Oh, I also want to talk about the retention pond on the north side of the campus, because folks are coming there from the tower, and we want to encourage people. The 2 days of spring that we had so far, people were out there and they're asking about that. They said, well, it seems lower than it was last year, and it seems uglier than it was last year. And both of those things are true. It is lower. It's lower primarily because the lake is lower this year, and it coincides with the lake level. But we are working on that, and we have an engineering firm that has been working with the city and drawing up plans, and we're not necessarily meeting the city's expectations all the time. They kind of throw the plans back at us and we go back at it again. So it's a process between the city and the DNR and our engineers and that type of thing. So I'm not quite sure when we're going to get all of that in order. Dave and his grounds crew would like it to have been yesterday, because he prides himself on the look of our campus, and that is not the way we want it to look. But we also have to make sure that we do it appropriately for the government entities and for the Lake Area Management District also. There is one more boater safety course coming up. It is Tuesday the 27th from 8:30 till 12:30. Tuesday the 27th from 8:30 to 12:30. A reminder that anybody that drives our boats has got to either complete this course or the DNR boater safety course. Now, I know that several people have told me, yes, my son drives the boat. I have a nephew who drives the boat, and they've got these. We need a copy of that before we will rent the boat out to you. We need that on file. So if you have somebody who is even thinking about driving the boat this summer, get a copy of that, or have them email a copy of that to us here at Shorehaven so that we can put it in the file. When it comes time to rent out the boat, we're going to ask who's the driver, and we're going to go to that file. And if we don't have anything on file, we're not going to rent the boat out.
I would actually like before people even make reservations.
Okay, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, before you call in and say, I want to reserve the boat, we want to have that on file so we know who's driving. And I hate to do this. I love to have everybody out there driving the boat, but in a society of litigation and that type of thing, our insurance company is telling us we need to be very careful about who we let behind the wheel of that boat. And our lake is a busy lake. During the summer with the regattas and everything, we need to be careful. And so we have to minimize our exposure. So please, if you have a family member who is going to be driving the boat, or you even think they're going to be driving the boat, have them email in their boater's safety certificate from the DNR, and we'll keep it on file so that everything will go smoothly when you reserve the boats. Let's see, what else? You had a phone call, Amanda, something I can answer?
2, yep. Number 1, at Lake Terrace, are they allowed to have overnight guests if they're vaccinated?
Lake Terrace on the north side of the campus is asking, can you have overnight guests? Yes, you can. Yes. You know, we're counting on you to be the police, not us. You know, make sure that you feel good with them being here. We do want them to screen in. We do want them to, you know, follow safety protocol, but yes, and they may join you in the dining room because that is your one guest unit. So yes, I like to give those answers. You may have overnight guests.
Another one, but this is for Mark. When is the Waterfall going to be working in the pond by me?
Oh, I will promise that. I'm here to promise today. The question is, when are we going to get the Waterfall going out here? And I already saw that Mark has has reserved a spot with Aquatica because we have to put money down to reserve a spot. It really isn't up to us to get that Waterfall going. Aquatica puts us on their list, and they will come out as soon as the weather is decent. You know, I mean, it's an event. If any of you have watched the Waterfall, watch the pond be cleaned. The gentlemen from Aquatica go out there, they capture all the fish, they put them in a big barrel, and then they go in with a pressure washer and they wash down all the rocks and all the sludge and they pump it out, and then they put new water in our pond. So it is done every spring, and sometimes we don't even know a day in advance.
No,
they just show up.
The other reason is it does need repair. When the Waterfall runs, there's a leak. So they do need to repair, and that's why we really have to start it also.
Okay, yeah, it's not running because we do have to do a repair. And you think, well, why do you do that? Well, there's a membrane under there, there's a leak. We need to stop that leak. Number one, it erodes the soil underneath. We don't want that because then we'll have a collapse in the pond. And number two, we put a lot of water into that pond. And in Oconomowoc, interestingly enough, you pay for water and sewer off your water consumption meter. Now, we have that metered separately so that over the summer we only pay for water. We don't pay a sewer charge on that, but we don't want to pay for more water than we have to pump into that pond. There's a lot of evaporation when we're in the upper 80s and and 90s, and so we need to continually keep the water level in that pond up. Another question, Amanda.
I answered it.
Oh, Amanda answered that. So Mark, Amanda is also making promises for you today. Yes, the answer is yes. What's the question? Sarah, do you have anything we should promise these folks today?
No, just the Lake Area Free Clinic is asking
Oh, yes.
people who like to knit, crochet, or loom.
You should come up here and say it because I'm going to have to repeat it otherwise.
So the Lake Area Free Clinic is asking for people who like to knit, crochet, or loom to take part in their Yarnathon fundraiser. You can contact the people on this. I will post it on Channel 900 and put flyers throughout all the buildings or staff that would like to participate. And it's a very simple process. If you've seen the bridges and the parks with the yarn all over the place, it's a fundraiser for Lake Area Free Clinic. They need all the help possible to make the yarn formations possible. So just look for the flyers and the information. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this around. You see it on the trees downtown. You go through Culver's and it's in the posts right there. They make yarn creations and they put it out. And last year they expanded to Delafield. And because the Lake Area Free Clinic, it's Waukesha County. So it's not just Oconomowoc. And the preponderance of their clients come from Waukesha. So they're coming from east of us. So this year they are trying to expand to Heartland and become a more of a visual in Heartland. So they need more knitters and crocheters. I don't know really what a loomer is, and I don't want to go that far. But looming to me, there would be somebody over my shoulder if they were looming, but I don't know that to be true. Chris, do you have anything from the volunteer point of view?
Volunteer appreciation is next week. We of course appreciate our volunteers every single day here at Shorehaven. Still need some volunteers, so if they're thinking about it, take this as their sign that it's now time to step up and volunteer.
Okay. Volunteer appreciation. Volunteer appreciation week is next week, and as Chris said, we appreciate our volunteers all the time. Normally, we would have a breakfast or a brunch for our volunteers. We can't do that. We can't get everybody together. But I did attend a meeting this morning with our Service League of Volunteer board, and we're looking at something in September, October. We're hoping that this is going to be a well, I'm sure it's not going to be a memory because it'll always be there, but we will be into more group activities and we will do something appropriate at that time. Mark, I'm not going to promise you anything more. Emily, you're good? Okay, Emily's testing staff once a week now, every Monday. We are still a yellow county. The next positivity will come out on Monday, and we'll see. Even if we go to be a green county, we are going to be testing weekly for at least another 2 weeks until we are green all the way across the board.
It'll still be weekly.
It'll still be weekly. Yeah, I think so too. Amanda?
Yep. At the tower, when can they start going to Rockwells?
When can the towers start going to Rockwells? Good question. We should talk about that because Rockwells technically is run by the Bureau of Assisted Living, and we should talk about that. I guess the question becomes when, and I'm thinking out loud, and my assisted living people aren't going to like this, but when can we have guests come into the dining room at the tower? Because that is run by the Bureau of Assisted Living. And so I guess when we can do that, we can bring people from outside the nucleus of Lake Terrace into that dining room. So I would say, I'm not sure we're there yet. I don't think the BAL has said bring guests in. We're not able to bring guests in for dining or meeting or anything like that in the nursing home or this side of the campus yet. So not for a while, I guess, is the answer. As soon as we can, Chef Mike would love to feed everybody. Brian, anything I didn't say? Okay, good. Amanda, anything else? Okay, so we have about 6 minutes before you hear the tones go off and telling you to get ready for a tornado. So please respond so that we know you know what to do. Okay, thank you. Okay.